The sun is already coming out earlier. Look at that sunshine. I hope the camera gets a good representation of it. I'm at Woodlands Parkway, heading up to the right start. My brother was running late this morning, so he's gonna drive to the right start and meet me there. So we should be able to get some nice clips for you guys. We're going out to Whitehall, Texas today.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rode into the Woodlands. Paul was running behind, so I went ahead. He called and told me he was running late. I went ahead. We didn't catch up with him until we got out into Magnolia. We took through Ventura there, Oklahoma. And once we got out to Magnolia, we joined Paul and we headed out on FM 1774. That's Riley Road there. We went out to County Road 325. I think the camera went out of battery power out there. And we got to Whitehall. After Whitehall, we resumed filming. We took County Road 302 back to Todd Mission. It was a very quick ride. It was a nice morning. It started out kind of cold, well, cool in the mid 40s, but it warmed up very quickly. I had knee warmers on earlier and I had to shed. I think you would like the clips that we got for you. The rides have become faster and they're more consistently fast because of the new injection of a few extra characters from California.
Don't put me under the bus.
We're at the Alden Village Center in Woodlands, Texas. We just clipped in. We waited about, let's see, it says 7:35, probably 7:36 now. We waited a little bit for Paul. I had expected him to drive to the ride today, but he ended up riding out here anyway. And he was early and then went down the wrong route because we're going through the Woodlands today, not on Research Forest. So people are not looking at the map to get the details of the routes when I load them up there. So look at that sun. It's beautiful. It's probably about 9 or 10. Yeah, it's 10 Celsius. Almost 50 degrees. And it's one of these mornings where it's going to warm up really quickly. I'm wearing knee warmers like you see Frank is up here. He ended up having to shed because he's going to end up taking off that vest. It's just too warm for this day. I only put on a sleeveless base layer.
Straight across today.
Okay, straight across?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going straight on Alden Village Drive. And that would take us to Branch Crossing by Terramont Park. Kind of go through the Woodlands to get out to Hufsmith, Dobbins Hufsmith Road. So our rides are getting faster progressively, and so it's been a nice change. By this summer, we're going to be flying. So instead of turning right on Research Forest, that's where Paul is. He's on the right at where Zantes leaves from. That's what he told us later. But the ride is not going that way. That's Abby back there. Abby's got a light on his helmet. That looks good. It flashes. I think it's one of those lights you can attach to any helmet, I think. I'm wearing my stealth outfit. Since it's a sunny day, I'm wearing the Aero jersey Rafa makes in the black color. And then I'm wearing my Asa Spring Fall bib tights with Asa's knee warmers. Their knee warmers are very, very versatile. They're a little long. They're designed, their knee warmers are long. I pull it all the way up. Those my knees are covered, I'm happy. So this is Alden Bridge Drive, and it will take us up to Branch Crossing Drive. I think in a little bit, Laura and I are going to start chatting. I'm going to ask her about her week or something like that.
That's why people complain because they don't.
So that's Laura rolling up alongside me.
So how was your week, Laura?
It's been good, yeah.
So there's
I don't know. I got one day blends into the next sometimes.
Yep, that's how this week was for me. It was quick.
Quick, and then my kids, I did an engagement party for my daughter last Saturday. That was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
They came over last night to play games, and it's nice having them close.
Yeah. Did you do any organized rides this week?
I did. On Thursday. Abby's ride. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
the Romeo.
Any weather, it was nice.
Yeah.
Abby scheduled a ride.
Yeah, I usually ride.
They were going, I believe, to New Caney. I've done that ride before.
Yeah, I can do 5 days. I do 3 during the week and 2 on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, yeah, I try to take Mondays off.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Laura says she takes Mondays off. I take Mondays off because just from a logistics
My
standpoint.
week flexes a little depending on what else is going on.
Yeah.
You can, and around the weather. I was on the trainer one day. I don't care for the trainer much, but
Yeah.
I have
Sometimes
to.
it helps to keep you loose.
Yep. Be back at the
Sometimes the trainer is a necessary evil.
I said, you know what, I really need that. And I don't, this hole was huge, big. Yeah. The big gap. Yeah.
Morning.
I said, I think it's best to see if I can get home. And sure enough, I got home.
Just a pretty morning, very fair, pleasant day.
We're
Not
actually getting
many
a spring. I
challenges.
appreciate this because sometimes it just goes, it just
straight
get hot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm embracing it as long as it lasts.
Yeah, that was like a ladder.
Yeah, we're actually having a spring in our area instead of it jumping to 90.
It lasts for a while.
Yeah. It was one of these mornings. It was tough to dress for. I was like, okay.
I know, because there's a 20 degree swing, I think.
Yep.
Today, so I'll be cold or hot at one point or another.
Yeah, I mean, you should be fine by around 9:30, 10.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I had tights on and changed those again.
Yeah, no, I put on like the knee warmers, and I put on
I
light.
had those same ones that are almost like leg warmers on me. They're so long, but
So yeah, they're very light, so I don't have to take them off.
that's what I'm gonna do.
I ended up taking them off when we stopped in
It makes them to where
Magnolia
I
at the
like them because
store.
I can pull them way up on my thigh.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about them.
Flip it down.
Yeah.
No, and those are my favorite ones right there. I don't
Yeah.
tip right off, but I bought the other ones. There's a different. They make them different now. And you go to pull them on, and you make a run at them. They're terrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, they're nice. You have them on, but you have to be careful putting them on. They're not like these ones.
Okay.
I've
They're a little
I
delicate.
made too big and delicate.
Yeah, they have a lot of gear. Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, I just.
A lot of that gear, they're nice, but they're very delicate. We're gonna go left up here.
Okay.
This is where he was, Mike.
Huh?
This is where I saw him.
Paul H?
Yeah, he was gonna turn left. On
Yeah, I saw
Thursday
Paul H
morning.
on Thursday. I was riding at around lunchtime, and he was standing here to turn left. I was heading.
So I was going that
North.
way. He was right here.
I was on this street going to the right there. As I went through the intersection, he was standing here where Laura is.
Coming up on, I think 76.
We're on the open road. We just exited the main area of the Woodlands. We have turned onto a little road that will get us onto Dobbins Hufsmith Road. I think this is called Field Store Road off of 2978 on the outskirts of the Woodlands, Texas. This ride will take us through an area called Pleasantville, I believe, before we get into the area called Whitehall, Texas. Pleasantville is west of 1774. Very rural, very quiet. So it felt weird not to have my brother on the ride, but I didn't know he was already up ahead. I thought that maybe he had decided, he had told me he was running late, and I figured maybe he had a crazy week and he decided to just kind of take the day off. So at this point, we did not expect him to be on the ride. So Abby is pulling us on Field Store Road. In about maybe 2 kilometers, we'll be at the intersection with Dobbins, Hufsmith. We're going to turn right, heading north towards 1488. This route takes us up over Mount Magnolia. And we'll go through downtown Magnolia onto FM 1774. And that's where we'll see Paul at the stop. There is a Shell station. When the rides are cool in the morning, we try to at least have a stop within an hour for a health break, and then we'll resume. Just a short stop. My heart rate monitor belt at this point is trying to wake up, I guess, because I should be like 115, 120. It says 85. It should be higher than that. So usually when the mornings are cold, even though I put some moisture on it, for some reason it wasn't picking up. So it may have been a little loose. I just noticed the stats on here, and I saw it periodically on my head unit, but I don't ride to that anyway.
Yes. Right turn.
He's asking if we're turning right. Which confirmed he didn't look at a map either. Even if you do, you can't remember every turn, I guess. This is Dobbins Hufsmith Road. It's close to town, has a rural feel to it. During the week, it's kind of busy. On the weekends, not so much, so it's the best time to use it. This is close to the woodlands and also not too far from Tomball, Texas. Tomball is southwest of here. That's an area where it's relatively flat there, you know. You got a few bumps. It's not that bad. We go out there from time to time. Robert Tangler lives in Tomball, Texas. Most of the time we go there, we go right by the area where he lives. I mostly go to Tomball on the days when I'm taking it really easy because it's relatively flat, very little elevation, so you can kind of back off working too hard. I pulled through at the same effort he was doing. I plan to sit up here maybe a minute tops. Laura's sitting on my wheel. But we're just kind of getting into the ride now. You know, we're riding now, but not very hard, kind of moderate. This is a good shot here. I turn it around so you can get a perspective for what I'm seeing, but I don't like to keep it facing forward Unless it's attached to the bike, I don't keep it facing forward too long. Kind of keep an eye on what they're doing. I don't like to just sit at the back. I like to roll through the line. This road has just a slight grade. It's at 1%. It's just mostly, 0 to 1. It's flat in my opinion. I mean, this stretch is coming up where it'll go down a little bit, but a couple of bumps, nothing long, sprinters bumps. 2.5%, if that. Just small. It's a good road to come out and do a good workout. When it's quiet, weekends are best for this road. During the week, it's feeding too many communities, and these people act like when they're going to work, the world should stop for them. I'm trying to just keep my rhythm steady. I think I'm going to pull off here. I don't know if it's right here or is it after, probably after this. Yeah, pull off right there. Laura's coming through. There's Frank, there's Mike Barrera. He's got a lightweight jacket on. Champoussan, Abby. This is Matt. Matt ended up getting lost on the way back. Well, he took a different way, I guess. But where we go, if you take the wrong turn, you'll be riding for miles before you can recoup. It'll take you out of your way. So I don't know what was going on there, but so at this point, we don't know Paul is up ahead because he went straight. We took a circuitous route through the woodlands, on a wider circuit. He went straight on 1488. So we're behind him at this point. Because he got into the parking lot. He got there at 7:15. So I guess he rode very hard. I took it easy spinning up into the woodlands. They had all these road closures. So I took the long way around. I got there around 7:20-ish. Sitting off the wheel here just intentionally to kind of work a little harder. I planned to work very hard on this ride. That was my goal. And it was accomplished. The ride was very fast. A lot of nice attacks. We lost the camera's battery. Well, not lost. It ran out of power when we got on 325 during some of the attacks. But once we switched the battery, we had some good footage on the way back. It's one of those 11 Celsius days that's warm because the wind's blowing, I guess, from the east right now, a little bit north, then it's going to turn south. So it's a warmer morning than we've had. So even though it says 12°C, it feels warmer, especially in the sun. So by the time we get to Magnolia, I pull off the leg warmers, roll them up, and stick them in my pocket. Knee warmers, I guess. I'm not wearing leg warmers, so they're knee warmers. But I didn't want to feel cold on the way to pick up the group. So I think this is the stretch where Dobbins and Hufsmith kind of will go down, almost like a descent. Yeah, -1. It's a slight descent. So we're just kind of rolling along here. So all along here, the ride's kind of easy. think this stretch the road begins to go up a bit, as you can see visually. You see the watts going up above 300. I think Laura is still pulling. I spent most of this stretch soft pedaling. You can see the watts. I mean, the watts are flickering along with my cadence. I'm very familiar with this road. They have not resurfaced it in a very long time. In fact, it came and graded the corners. It scraped it up, I guess, for more traction, so the corners are rough, kind of like they did on Hornia, Egypt. Must be a county thing going on, Montgomery County. See, I have a Dutch angle here. This is one of the corners that they graded. Look at that. It's all rough. It's not as bad as others that we've been on, but I think it's unnecessary. People need to slow down. The laws of physics apply. Whether you roughen the corner or not, it still has a limit. And the limit is based on the skill of the person using it and the equipment they have. You gotta know your limitations. That's just the way the world works. I stay a little to the left so I can see around them and to get a good shot too.
That hole.
Yeah, Matt thanked me after I pointed out that hole because nobody else called it. And, I knew the hole that I could see it by sitting a little off of the wheel in front of me. I can see more, so I saw the hole, and he just missed it. It's one of those holes where it's small. So your wheel is not going to get swallowed up, but it's going to hit hard enough to where it can affect. It can even give you a pinch flat if you seat it and you hit it the right way. Just a random pothole. They need to drop some asphalt in there. So whenever I'm the last rider in a group, I always sit a little to the left to discourage drivers from passing the group very closely. So that way we take up more of the road, especially on these quiet roads. They have enough room to use the other lane, so I encourage them where possible to use the other lane. So the effort is picking up. I don't know if I get closer here. I think, yeah, I do. So I'll get closer here to kind of save some energy, save even more energy. The road has a nice little sprinter's climb, I like to call it. Short, but not super short. But it's not anything too tiring, let's put it that way. There's a slight grade right here. It's gonna level off as we turn, and you will see the little bump in the distance. Right here it starts to go up. If you look at the grade, I'm not sure what it gets to. But we're on it and we can feel it. You can see my watts, 300 plus. And I think it's beginning to level off here, maybe. Let's see, I'm in the 400, so must not be. Somebody's pushing harder up there. So even though the bump is over, it's a slight drag here up until where you saw that car a little bit. Then it will go down towards the corner. It says 2% here. But you feel it the whole way. I'm letting them know we're turning right.
Right there.
So even though most of these guys don't look at the route, I still put the route out there because there are always people that want to download the route as a course and use the turn-by-turn direction. So I'm going to keep doing it for those people. You know, not everybody's into the details. I'm going to come around Matt here. He seems to be having trouble staying on that wheel. I will give him my wheel and then slowly pull him up. This road is called Spur 149. It's a little section, kind of an arterial spur off of 149, the main highway. This will take us to 1488, right before Mount Magnolia. This entire stretch here, even though there's 1%, somebody's pushing because that's why Matt was having challenges. You see my watts, almost 500. I don't look at that when I'm riding, I just ride. Just put it in the appropriate gear and ride. Must be Frank at the front. That's kind of the way he rides. Jackrabbit road racing style. Jump, jump, then sit up. Jump, jump. I think it's him. But Matt's right on my wheel. He's right there. I'm keeping my eye on him. We're going downhill here, so I'm just gonna soft pedal. I think I turned the camera off at this corner here when we hit the light here. This intersection, that little corner. 1488 is in the distance after this light. That's the new HEB they just built out here.
We can stop at the gas station in Magnolia.
Okay.
I'm letting Abby know that, we're going to be stopping. This is after the stop. We are in Magnolia, Texas. We're on 1774. We have hooked up with Paulie Longa. He has the camera. He's sitting behind Clement Champousson. John Mulbrett.
Yeah.
I'm on Laura's wheel. So he basically rode out here on 1488 instead of taking that circuitous route that we took. And so by the time we got here, he was already at the stop. So it was great to see him on the ride, lifted my spirits. To see that everything was well with him. And now we're off. This is the FM 1774. We're headed north, northwesterly direction for the most part. It's going to take us to Riley Road. So when you're sitting in the pace line, resist the urge to over rev, especially when you're following. You want to be in a gear that you can rev up when necessary, but once you settle at that speed, you want to stay close to your cruising cadence so you're efficient. The same thing when you're going up a bump and somebody forces the pace. You really don't want to over rev, you want to push, because if it's a long effort and you over rev too early, you upset your aerobic system. Then you get out of breath. And it's hard to recover because you need a little bit of break. You need to shift up, slow those legs down. So that's the fun thing about cycling. It's and that's why I like that we control our gearing. I wouldn't want to ride a bike that shifted for me. That would be so dull because it doesn't know what I want to do. We have a lot of people in our area that are buying e-bikes, recreational cyclists. And you see them not even pedaling. I'm like, what's the point? You get out of a car to go sit on a bike and do nothing? That's boring. The e-bikes provide a little bit of assistance. Right now, some of them, the batteries are so heavy. You got a 30 to 40 pound battery on a bicycle. I mean, come on. They need to improve that technology. Laura is pulling, and we're going to be turning left in a little bit. So I'm keeping my eye on the traffic in the main lane next to us. And we'll make the suggestion because we're turning left, and I want to make sure there's enough room for the entire group when it's time to turn. We're not just looking for you. We're looking for everybody that's in the group. Looking in the mirror right there. I know it's clear. I let Laura know it's time to come over. You see Mike looks back. Both lanes were clear. There's nothing there for a bit. And everybody can get in. So I decided for us to get in just slightly earlier than we needed to, but now it's perfect. We're in this lane. That's Riley Road up ahead. I'm trying to find a spot for that wrapper. I put it on that side, but my knee warmers are in there, so I decided to take it out and put it in my other pocket because I don't want any gel that's left in there to get on my knee warmers. I'll discard it when we get to Whitehall. Mike asked Laura who chose the name for her son. That's what they're talking about. You see how Mike looked behind before he moved in front of Paul? You got to do that. On this ride, we're going at high speed. I believe it was off camera. I think it was right before the battery died or right after. Anyway, what's his name? John changed his line very drastically without checking, and that can cause a wreck. You should never change your line without checking. It's like driving your car. You don't change lanes without checking. That's like Russian roulette. So not everybody in the group's gonna be smooth or experienced. So when you ride with other cyclists, keep your wits about. Paul's telling Laura there are a lot of cars behind us. We need to close it up. I'm using as much of the road as I can because this road has a lot of ruts and stuff on the right side. So I don't want to ride the group into a bad spot on the road. You're the leader. You need to navigate properly. Navigate the group away from hazards. Whether you point them out or not, it's up to you. But if they're following you, you don't want to ride into a bump because what's the point of that? You can see. So I'm making sure that I ride the smoothest part of the road. I don't know what they're talking about here. This is not the road to chat on. This road's too busy. And later in the day when we come back, we don't come back on this road because one time Paul and I took the reverse route and we came back on this road. It was just really busy, cars just passing frequently. So it's better to use it in this direction. It's quieter in the morning. It's a main artery getting people east and west through this area. It feeds a lot of communities. They even have an area where the school bus stops on this road. And you know, some of these drivers take chances. You will see one in a little while. I see him in my mirror coming, and then I see a car, the opposite side of the road. No, and I realize he doesn't have enough room. So you'll see me just stop pedaling so he can get by. Road's relatively flat. I figure I'll hold 22, 23 is a good pace. I'm not doing it by speed, just the effort. You know, zone 2 primarily. Zone 2 to sweet spot. That's the school bus sign. Its point is that, you know, the school bus stops here to pick up kids during the week. They've been trying to patch the road, but they just drop asphalts in those holes and they don't smooth them out. And so on the bike, I don't roll over those patches because you feel them. They're like mini speed bumps. They're like mounds. I'm looking for the smoothest pavement and just pointing out any kind of irregularities. Sometimes you can't really tell if it's just a ripple in the pavement, especially if the shadows hit it. I don't want to shift, so I stand. Mike Barrera starts spinning a small gear real fast. He said he got up to 130 RPMs. You don't want to do that too long. Burns a lot of calories. She's talking about his cadence. Laura's got the Pactimo kit going. Looking sharp as usual. Gotta love it. Gotta look the business. Whatever it is you're doing, you're a handyman, you gotta look like a handyman. Get your hard hat. Get your belt with your utility belt with your tools. Get out there. I'm going to drift to the back, but in a little while I'm going to come to the front after I think Mike Barrera is done pulling, because it's hard to follow Laura and Paul's, you know, filming, turning that camera around, doing all kinds of stuff. So I come up and I tell him I want to give you a better draft. So then you'll see Laura sit up to give me a draft. I just kind of laugh. But it's like, plus I want to be in the shot so that when I sync it in post-production, it's a lot easier for me to get the accuracy of the stats. You will hear Paul ask me, you want to get between us? Because I point. I don't assume that he knows what I'm trying to do. Listen to that wind. It's always out here. You never get a break. Very rare days when you get a perfect tailwind. Mike's got a nice rhythm going, very steady. It's a different kind of riding, steady versus the attacks and accelerations. It taxes your system differently. So depending on the kind of riding you're doing, you got to prepare for what you're going to face. If you're riding with people that are always surging, then you got to train like that. If you're touring and doing other things, then you don't need to do all those high-end stuff. Mike's looking, he's going to come off, flick his elbow, Laura's going to go up. And that's the way to do it. I don't like taking my arm off the bar, tapping myself on the hip like some riders do. That's not necessary. Flick your elbow. Flick the elbow on the side of the rider so she can see it.
That's a second pull. You ready for the workout? I see.
Paul messing with Laura. He said that's a second pull because she just pulled on 1774. This is where I come up and I see me point to the space.
Okay.
So I want to give him a better draft.
Okay.
And Laura sits up. She heard me. Because she gets low like Mo. I said Laura and Mo, they get very low. I like to follow Jerry until he decides he wants to really go full gas. You know, then you have to work so hard. I'm dodging a reflector there. Came up on me. Don't like to go over them. They're like small squares. So with the conditions that we're riding in, the effort is pretty reasonable. I mean, well, it's actually impressive because we're fighting a lot of wind here. And we're doing about 22, 23 or so. It's like we're doing the same speeds that we're doing in milder conditions or less challenging conditions. It's a warm morning. I'm taking a drink. So one of the most overlooked connection points to the bicycle, your feet, is critical in keeping you anchored in that sweet spot on the saddle because you're locked into the pedal. You can't move your foot around. So if your feet are like uncomfortable and you're having to move them around, flip them left or right or whatever, or you're getting hot spots, you got to go back to revisit your fit. Don't go to a fitter and say, oh, I just want you to handle my cleat. No, they got to check everything. It's a relationship between those points. When you get those two sorted correctly, that numbness you used to have in your hands and your tightness in your shoulders, they all go away because your weight is distributed. You're more comfortable on the bicycle. A lot of riders we ride with are always shaking their hands during the ride. They're still not dialed in. If you've watched these films, you know what I'm talking about. You shouldn't have to be riding down the road with numb hands. There should be no weight on there. Get your hands to go to sleep, so to speak. As the road goes up, I have to put out more watts to stay with Laura. stay as close as I can to Laura, but I don't want a perfect draft. I still want to work. So I'm sitting up high. So Paul gets a good draft. Because he's dealing with his camera, you know, and he rode solo all the way to Magnolia. It's relatively flat here. That sun is beautiful. Nice shot. Mike talking about that house. It's an unusual house. Almost like it doesn't belong out here. Kind of a modern looking house. I think I end up revving up, yeah, just to keep up here right now. When we turn to hit 2%. I rev up, then I shift up. Soft pedaling here. Get a slight bump here again. Laura digs. I ride up. That's the way you have to train. If you're going to ride with fast groups, you got to push sometimes. Laura pulls off. I keep the effort the same, just pull through. The road gets real crappy here. You hear Paul complain. I think this is a different county. That's why I'm standing.
Here, go again with the crappy road.
Doesn't last very long. Frank said, "Are we in New Orleans?" I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the roads are necessarily bad in New Orleans. Might be bad in Waco, Texas, where Baylor is.
That was Roubaix, Section 6.
Paris-Roubaix.
You got to be in the gutter.
Last week we were on some bumpy roads, and Paul got his hand skinned with when he was holding the camera, and rubbed his skin
look
off.
at my hand. See that finger?
Yeah.
That was from last week.
You got skinned.
Yeah.
He was holding the
this thing
stick.
on the crappy road.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It was that bad. Huh?
It was that bad. I felt it.
That was on Pablo
You still got
Osborne
skin
Road.
off of it.
Yep.
And Mike Berg, I'm telling you, you should get hazard pay.
You get hazardous duty pay. I like this area. Plantersville.
Yeah, this is Plantersville. We're in the area called Plantersville.
What do you think about this, Frank? You remind me of LA back in the 1700s? Yeah, Iraq here. No, more like
So they're starting to talk about Orange County. I hear them as I'm riding. In a little while, there are some dogs loose on the road, and I guess dogs were trying to fight each other or something. The owners will pull over to gather them or whatever. So it's like you would see them in a little bit.
And then there are days where they're so snowed in. I mean, there's like snow on the ground.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but thank you. Train, white,
Yeah. Yeah, I like to take care of sick parents, sick mom.
It's a nice property over there.
He's loose. There's a dog loose.
So Mike sees the
On the
dog.
port side. That's not a coastal. He's not as vicious looking as. Hey, Avi, make sure you get to the right.
Oh, there's another one over there.
Well, there's several of them in the road.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them.
There are some other dogs that will come across. They were going to get into a fight, I guess, because one of them standing there with his tail up in the air.
Maybe that ain't it. There's the owner.
So the owner's out trying to get them off the road.
Oh, little one. We got dogs. We got dogs, and Plantersville.
Dogs galore.
Oh, 4 of them. 4 of them.
There are other dogs over there that live there, and they're like, "You're on my turf."
You go first. You can be the carrot.
I don't want to be last either.
No. Yes, I guess not. Another one.
I'm breaking loose today.
I know. Sir Abby! How are you doing, my brother?
Very well.
Good.
I want to pick up fondue.
Still got fondue? Yeah, I'm waiting for the fondue call, man. I was surprised when she told me about it.
Yeah.
Never heard that word in so long.
It's so long.
We're talking about Michael Buffer up there.
Yeah.
And one of his
Because there was a dog standing with his tail raised. I said, he's waiting for the call. Let's get ready to rumble. Because it looked like they were ready for a fight. Because those other dogs had come in the area.
Just a few miles to the border.
So they're all behind us, and so we're going to resume.
Close neighbors, man.
Yeah. Right close to Lumumbashi.
Yeah.
So we're going to lift the
That's
pace
right.
just a little bit. Probably around 20,
Surprise,
22,
man. You
20
weren't
to
looking all
22
the way
miles
over
an
there.
hour. We're going into the wind and going westerly.
Yeah, I see. It's good, man. Where you find love, that's where your heart is.
Second?
Where you find love, that's where your heart is.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So I'm going to edge the effort up just about maybe 20 miles an hour or so. Feel like doing some work here.
Laura, I like your kid. Very nice. Except your shoes will go with mine.
Oh, you haven't?
I said, except your shoes
Oh, yeah.
will go with my outfit.
I needed them.
Paul saying that her shoes matches his outfit too.
Nice.
So I keep it steady for a bit, and a little while I'll pull off.
This stretch here
Yeah.
was your first ride. Do you remember?
That's funny because I think we've been there, and I said I probably came with your group, but
That was the first ride you did.
okay.
Yeah.
I like this route then.
Yeah.
I don't remember this part very well.
That's why we were switching back and forth. I would go in the front filming, and then he would stay
I
behind.
was so new.
Yeah.
I was like, well, where am I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Laura came out here with
At
on a
29.
ride with us. When she moved to the area, it was one of the first rides she did with us. This route. I think in a little bit I'm going to pull off so Frank can take over. Right there. Then I'm going to drift a little to the left after I flick my arm. I guess I sit up there a little longer then. I didn't realize I stayed up there that long. No wonder my legs were protesting. Right there, I pull off, yeah. I stayed up there for a while. I didn't realize I stayed up there that long. I was feeling good. If I'm feeling good, I'm going to pull. If I'm not, I'll sit anymore. But by keeping the speed steady in your group rides for the most part, you know, in certain sections, depending on what you're training for, it encourages more people to find a rhythm, first of all, and then secondly, to take more pulls because they can pace themselves better. They're not expending an inordinate amount of energy surges like you do with surges. So, there always should be a ride where you ride steadily like your endurance rides, even by yourself. Just go out and you just build that aerobic endurance. The wind is out here. You can see Laura here flicking a little bit. It's out here. This area here has a lot of farms. You know, it's an agricultural area. South of here is more flat. So I'm going towards Katy and all those places. Southwest. I think somebody said right or left. I figured they would know we're going right. I'll tell them. I think I said right turn. He's hesitating.
Right. Right.
Right turn. Far left.
So this is 362. This is the road where we're coming back from Whitehall, further north of here, and Matt just comes straight. The problem with that is this road, if you're coming south, it takes you southwest. So it takes you miles out of the way if you stay on it. So, right? You don't want to get lost out here. It's not fun. Because it takes you a while to get to another street. There are no quick recovery areas. This is a good road. The surface is very good. The volume of cars are low, although the speeds are higher. I think Mike Barrera is pulling, yeah. I'm sitting, I think I'm behind Paul or behind Abby, one of them. We're at County Road 325. I think on this road the battery runs out, but it gets a little intense before that happens. We turn and all hell breaks loose. Frank takes off at the front, and I think Mike Barrera is going to chase him down, and John Clement Champoussin. Laura is in the mix. The road goes up here. John rides up to Frank. It's about 4% here. Mike comes around. I'm sitting there just watching everything. You can see my watch, 400 something watts. So we got to put out 500 watts or so to keep up on these things. So you got to train like that. You got to put out what you need to put out. Quit crying about being a big guy, blah, blah, blah. Just do the work. You know, do what you can. You're not climbing Alpe d'Huez. It's going to level off. Like here it's going downhill, so you use that. You can say I'm not even pedaling. Use that to your advantage. I'm on the left there. I'm not shadow, you see. I'm on the left of Paul. I know we got a lot of kilometers to deal with these ups and downs. And too bad the battery quit, because right then when the battery quit, we started. It was even more interesting. Ended up having to let them go for a bit. This is what we're doing, about 35 miles an hour, 63K. That's where the camera quit. Here we're on FM2. Actually, we're not on FM2. This is Highway 362 southbound. The camera quit and we didn't really get a chance to change the battery until we got to Whitehall. So we're on the way from Whitehall going south. And Matt left early, to ride up in front of us. And he's ahead. We can kind of see him. But this is where we get disconnected from him in a few kilometers, because we call out to him. He can't hear us in the wind. It's very windy. And it's warmed up tremendously. You can see it says 24 Celsius. 75, 76 degrees Fahrenheit from 43 or 44 in the morning. So that's a 30 degrees swing. I mean, I've already shed the the knee warmers, all of that. So we're headed back. That's FM2 on the right there. We took that to go on, I believe, 320 that took us to Whitehall via 2988. But we're taking 362 straight back to 302, which will take us to the Renaissance Center and back to 1774. So if you're not familiar with the area, you got to really check. You're going to see, I'll put an arrow on him. Matt's up ahead. Abby tried to call him. I tried. Abby even ended up riding after him, calling out to him, and he didn't hear him, I guess. So we let him go. He's calling him. Matt, he left early. He's in the distance and doesn't know we're turning. There he is, up that hill. We can see him. He looks back, but he does not acknowledge that we're telling him to turn. So we go ahead and turn. Abby's going to ride up to him, try to catch him and call out to him. But Abby, you hear Abby, he would be like, I'm not going to go down the hill to catch him because I got to come back up that hill.
It's glad you guys are not looking at that map. I'm good. That's funny. I'm not sure where Matt is going.
Nobody's looking at the map, So we kind of, camera's rattling on this road with all the little, it's like a chip seal road here, but not as bad as others we've been on.
Look on the left. The cows are having a meeting down there. There's something going on. I'm not sure what Matt City's going. If you don't know the route. Yeah, that is definitely
just beautiful out here. I'm talking about the cows to the left. See that bunch of cows to the left? Like they're having a meeting. They're looking at us. And Mike Barrera waves at them and then they take off. So I told him, you broke up the meeting, man.
Mike is breaking up the meeting.
They take off. Mike's in the distance there. We're waiting kind of to see if Abby's able to get Matt's attention, but he wasn't successful.
I didn't even
been back on this road yet?
So we look back, we can't even see them.
We try to get his attention, he's just riding.
So I guess he knew what he was doing, because if you're gonna do that, you need to keep your eye on the group. So in a little bit, you hear me pull up to John and chat with him about the close call. They had a close call on that back road when the camera quit on us because we were descending at like 35, 36 miles an hour, and he changed lines without checking.
So John,
and he and Paul almost collided.
That close call is anytime you're descending really fast, anytime you want to change your line, you got to check first because things are happening like that. So, you gotta
so I mentioned that to him so he's aware, because you need to know not everybody in the group has the same skill level. So you got to be aware, and so you got to let people know what they may not be doing right. And so I just kind of wanted him to know that you can't just be changing your line without looking. It's kind of like you driving your car. You don't look, you don't change lanes because you got a signal on. You can put the signal on, but you got to check to make sure the space is safe and clear. You know. So we're talking about those guys because it's like Abby went to go try to find him, and we still can't see them. So Abby said after a short while he turned around and came back because he wasn't going to go down a long hill that he's got to come back and climb just to get Matt's attention. You know, if Matt wanted to continue with us, he should have first of all asked, where are you turning, if you didn't look at the route. Secondly, if you're riding up ahead, keep your eye on the group. If you don't see us anymore,
362 dumps you.
You know, so I'm telling these guys that 362 will take you southwest up to 1488. That's way out west in an area called Fuel Store. So that's way out. You get on that road and you get lost, you will be calling for an Uber, or you better stop and get some food because you're going to need it. You'll be out there all afternoon.
We should. See him? Okay.
So we're trying to slow down, but then in a little while I'm going to tell Laura, go ahead and do the work. We'll just stop after the climb. Mike and Frank are up there riding. We came out here to ride these climbs. We don't get to come out here during the week because this is far away. Unless you want to put your bike in a car. I don't care for that. I can ride nearby and do repeats on our short little bumps we have. Get the same workout or similar. During the week, it's just not logistically practical to be hauling the bike somewhere. I don't have that many hours for cycling.
Do your work, Laura. We can wait for him after all these climbs.
So yeah, we came out here to ride these climbs. So I told Laura, just go ahead and ride. You know, we're gonna ride and then we can wait later. In a little bit, we're going to ride up to Mike and Frank, who are, you know, taking it easy, knowing that we're trying to wait for them to catch back up. But if you're going to do stuff like that with a group, let the group know what you're doing if you're going to do your own thing so they don't worry about you. You know, you just ride off not knowing where we're going. You didn't look at the route or whatever. It just wastes everybody's time. So after a while, we just, I think John has his phone number. John's going to call. Of course, he's riding, so he doesn't have his phone to where he can answer it. So it goes to voicemail, and we just go ahead and finish the ride. But, you know, if he had communicated with us, then we wouldn't have to be wondering what he was doing. So we catch up to Mike and Frank, and then after that, I let them know we can't even see those guys.
Hey guys, we don't even see those two. We don't even see them.
So I'm telling you, we can't even see them. We don't see them.
Let's stop right here somewhere. Yeah, let's talk to the donkey. That looks like the guy from Shrek.
They're on the left here. I don't know if we even picked them up. They take off when we approach the gate.
One of them.
Yeah, a bunch of them there in the distance. There's a bunch of donkeys.
They're not gonna harm you. I don't eat donkey.
So that's Abby.
I chased after him. I'm not sure whether he was hearing me. He looked back. I turned, but he just continued straight. So
Okay, let's go. Because I'm not sure. If he doesn't know where he's going, I'm not sure why he just keeps riding.
yeah. He's even got a picture of the donkeys right now.
Do you have his number?
I waited on the hill.
He turned around.
So we end up
before we
stopping
turned.
and calling
Yeah,
and
I was
making
shouting
sure,
his
you know,
name,
and just
so-
got his voicemail. He never answered. So
All
we
right,
just,
come on.
at this point, we
Let's
just
go.
went ahead and resumed the ride.
You complain about your shoes until you meet the guy who has no feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. You're like,
Mike was talking about a situation where some lady was complaining about the association fees
that is a lot.
being high. You know, I think
Yeah, that's a lot.
$60 a year or whatever. Then he told her, he said, well, where I'm from in California, we pay $80 a month or something like that. You know,
She looked like
that's what that was about.
Yeah. Ours are annual, $450 a
Yeah, I
year.
know, it's so wonderful. Even Windcrest is $80 a month. I think it's like, yeah, $860 a year or $900 a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is great. I wish it wasn't HOA, but what do you do?
Yeah. Were you guys able to reach him?
No, I called twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Riding,
called
the
his
snowplow
phone number
pulled
and
up.
couldn't reach him.
Oh, the
So we're
pain,
just
the
going
pain.
to finish the
The
ride.
pain you're putting me through here.
You are the one.
No.
Mike messing with Abby. Said Abby's putting him through pain on his course. So we resume and Frank is pulling. I believe Laura is on Frank's wheel. Paul is on Laura's wheel. I'm behind Paul. We'll slow down for this corner here, and I'm going to roll onto Laura's wheel. This is County Road 302. I think this stretch is called Finkel Road. They give them different names. In a little while, Laura will take over, and I settle in. I want you to look at the watts, because every time the road goes up, she'll dig, and you got to do what you got to do to hold that position. Especially in rolling terrain, it's not that big a deal to have to put out the watts you need to stay in the position you're in. So we're moving here. The road has a lot of patina. You've got to read the road. So this is almost about 4 hours for the group. Probably about 4:40 for us. So almost 5 hours into the ride for us. Road goes up, you can see. I think Frank pulls off here and Laura will take over. Road goes up again. You can see the watts go up. So you got to be able to do 500 plus, 500 plus every time it goes up.
Yeah.
She's asking whether we're going to, because the road has a Y, and we're just going to stay on the main one. Yeah. It's been at least a month and a half since Laura been out here, probably more, because she came out here with us a long time ago. And even though you put the map out, unless somebody's using turn by turn, you can't remember every turn. So you've heard us give directions. I kind of bug them a little bit. It's clear you guys are not looking at the map. But these are the kind of roads you need to get out on, and you're not competing with cars. It's quiet, the air's clean. You know, I hate riding in the congested areas. You have to stop too frequently. So in a little bit, Laura will pull off. I think we're gonna have to crest this little bump. You see the watts I'm doing, almost 5-something watts. It's a 4% climb. I think after the next climb, she's gonna pull off. Look at my watts, 500 something. That's what it takes for us big guys. So she pulls off, and I go ahead and roll through. And then a little while, Paulie Longa will come around. I think it's around here. Yeah, Paul comes, he takes the lead.
Paulie Longa, you're hurting about all the pain, Paul.
This is the stretch that takes us to the Texas Renaissance Center. Toddville is the area it's in. It's called Toddville Mission. That's the area. We're approaching FM 1774 around that curve. And we're going to turn right to take us south back to Magnolia, Texas, as we wrap up this ride. It ended up being nearly 6 hours of riding. The actual moving time. I think Paul's trying to pull off the front. So Abby goes, takes the lead. That's Frank. I like to avoid those little rocks that you see on the right there. Those little stones, some of them are sharp. I don't like rolling over them. Not sure what they're talking about. It's gonna drift behind me in a little bit. I'm gonna tell them to come up front. Come in front of me, get on camera. So I don't know what you did this weekend, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. Remember, get your K's in and keep those doctors fired.